how do we find people that are ready to invest in us? And sometimes we kind of bring this into shorthand of, charge what you're worth. Let's talk about the worth of the transformation that you provide. How do we put a number on that? When you figure out how to put a number on that, that's how you're going to be able to attract people that are ready to work with you. Things that happen to my clients when we go through what's going on. Yeah, I say okay, come on, talk to me about this. We've got questions that we go through. Before they even talk to their prospective clients, they are apologising for what it is they're about to charge. They're trying to figure out how to reduce the rate, to give them a discount, or to justify why there is not a reduced rate. Right, so I work with a lot of therapists, and this is something that comes up from, when they're in training mode, they are maybe not even charging anything, and then within a few years they can really start to charge, but they've got all this baggage weighing them down about justifying the cost of working with them because they feel like they're the same person, even though their abilities and their skills have dramatically changed and upgraded. So first, I want you to think about, people talk about premium clients, yeah? Premium clients, rich, wealthy clients, yeah? A premium client is someone who is ready to invest and their bank balance can match that, yeah? Their bank balance can match the investment. You do not need to be attracting millionaires to work with people that are ready to invest in you and they see the worth of your transformation. People joke about six-figure business owners, right? Or they, six-figure business, hit a six-figure business. If you've got a six-figure business, you're taking home 30K, yeah? After taxes, after expenses, unless you've got a unbelievably profitable business with an incredibly low margin and or a creative tax system, you're taking home 30 to 40K. What makes a premium client at that level is they've done the DIY route. They've done wasting their time on things that don't work. They see this as an investment in themselves. They respect boundaries. They take action. Yeah. The reason they respect boundaries is because they've had to do all their own boundary work. Therefore, they respect your boundaries, right? There are six-figure business owners who undercharge and still fall broke. My ideal client, right? How are these people thinking differently? They are exhausted from trying to figure it out themselves. They value speed of the results. Their question to me is, how fast can we solve this? Not what is the cheapest option. They don't really care how I do it. So their curriculum, depending on their archetype, they want to know how, but they don't really care how. They care that I've done it before. They care about the testimonials. They care about the people that I've worked with, and they value my expertise. Yeah. When they're thinking about this, they're not thinking, can I afford this? They're asking, can I afford to not solve this? They see the return of their investment, not just the cost. Yeah. And I want you to think about that when you're thinking about, what should I do? How should I be in this? Yeah. They want to work with someone who knows. Yeah. Not someone who's guessing, especially if they're a celebrity. They want to work with someone who knows. They're not asking for the cheapest. They're asking for the best for this situation. How can you articulate you're the best for this situation? Sometimes they want someone who's been where they are. Sometimes they just want someone who can get them to where they want to be. They want you to name the thing that they're feeling, but they can't articulate. They want permission to stop suffering. There is way too much normalizing of suffering. What if we normalizing stopping suffering? They want someone who understands systemic bullshit and practical solutions. This is massive with my people. They want boundaries. They want mine and their boundaries. Yeah, they want me to be able to hold space for them and for me. How do you position yourself to attract ready clients? I want you to think about your pricing, and I want you to think that if you're in the lower 80%, it's not the brag you think it is. Yeah, I'm one of the cheapest. I don't know why people aren't picking me. Really? Okay, I want you to think about being in the top 20%, yeah? Not because you're better than everyone else. Undercharging attracts unready people. Undercharging does a disservice to your community. This is something that really, really comes through from hobbyists, yeah? Hobbyists who are selling really, really undervalue and undermine, for example, true artisans. Someone says, well, I can get it for, $50. I had this with one of my clients, okay? So phenomenal craftsperson, absolutely phenomenal craftsperson. bespoke hats, all went through the same training. One of her colleagues in London charging 800 for this hat design. She's selling it in Devon. There's no way I can sell this for over 200. Even though she ships internationally, even though her headpieces go internationally, absolutely committed to the mindset that there's no way she can charge what someone in London charges. She's doing a disservice to every other person who has got the same skills, the same care, the same training that she has. She is training people to pay peanuts for an absolutely stunning product, yeah? So I don't want you to be the cheapest option in the market. People want to know exactly the situation my clients were at and what they're at now. Clients have come in charging $50 per hour for their sessions, yeah? I work with a lot of therapists. There's going to be a lot of examples with therapists. All people grandfathered in at $50, even if they were charging more. Within a few weeks, everybody is on 160. No new clients had come on board. Significant increase in income. Within 90 days, everybody going up to 180. New clients coming on board at 180. Again, significant income within 90 days of working with me. I want you to think about how you can be specific, because that can build your credibility. How can you be specific when you're sharing what it is you do with people? What's your original insight? Original. There are no original thoughts, yeah? Okay, but there are a little bit, right? There's a little bit of original stuff. Like something that dramatic happened in a session with me the other day in a client. They were absolutely terrified. So one of the things that I work with my clients is about creating new neural pathways, new money mindset. Yeah, breaking through glass money ceilings. And part of that work is seeing the things that we want to be, do and have around us. So we make up visuals to look at. This person was too scared of people in her life seeing these things around because of what they would think about her, what it would mean, a fear of being perceived. Yeah, and it took until like session 4 or 5 for her to share with me, because I was really confused about like what was going on. Like, talk to me about why the homework, for want of a better word, wasn't being done. Okay, once we had understood what the situation was, I was like, this is so normal. I had another client who was so terrified of anyone finding out she was doing money mindset. She created an entire new online personality. She created an entirely new social handle. She created, an entirely new email address to contact me with. So to come to me under a false name, because she was absolutely terrified of someone finding out that she was doing money mindset. Absolutely get that, right? Absolutely get that. Okay, let's normalize it. Let's move on. Yeah. 1, you've got absolute confidentiality when you're working with me. I know that very, very rarely will my clients be commenting on my LinkedIn posts or my social media posts. They will be sliding into my DMs, sliding into my emails, making sure that this is done under the cover of safety, security. That's a secret indoor thought that money mindset people aren't really talking about. A lot of people talk about, you're giving away your time, you just need to charge for it. Yeah, and I've seen this advice with people working, again, with therapists, with coaches, and the advice is, charge, you do not give away any time for free. You create a pick my brains. If you want to pick my brains, you create a pick my brains option. If someone wants you to answer a question, pick my brains option. And I have nothing against that. I think it can be super great. And let's look at, some additional context around that. So with one of my clients who was seeing an awful lot of people coming to her with inquiries, and they were taking up a lot of time inquiring about services, inquiring about if she could really help them, really kind of offloading all of their hurts and woes and problems, because they really wanted to make sure that she was going to be someone who could help them. Okay, it makes sense. So unfortunately, they weren't converting into paying clients. So she was spending an awful lot of time talking to people and there was no conversions happening. Okay, so what she did temporarily was put up a paywall to come and speak to me about whether I'm suitable for you. It was a paywall, it was a nominal amount, right? That gave her a temporary respite from all of these people taking up bandwidth. The people that did pay it did convert. So suddenly she had high conversion. She had lower people coming in, she had much, much higher conversion. She became fully booked. Actually, what that breath had done, what that space had done, it had given her space to actually figure out what was it she was really offering. What actually is the offer? What is the niche? What is the copy? She was able to successfully get that edited up. The price changed dramatically. She shot up to being in that top 20%, top 10% actually in her case. Phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal. She stopped charging for any calls because the people who were coming to her were completely different. The people that were coming to her were ready for action. The people that were coming to her had already tried everything else, and they knew that when they worked with her, she was going to be the solution. So it wasn't a case of if she was really the right person, it was when do we start? She spent more time ferrying leads off to other people because I'm really sorry, I'm booked, but here's a soft place to land. What a wonderful position to be in. That's what I want for, that's what I want for myself. That's what I want for my clients. Beautiful, perfect positioning. That's the cure. Where do we find clients that are ready? Sometimes you've got to really figure out where your clients are going to come from. Go and look at where your clients that actually pay you come from. It might surprise you. I've got clients that have spent a massive amount of time on social media and all their clients are coming from their email list. I've got clients that all their clients are coming from referrals and they're spending all their time creating YouTube videos. Yeah, so go and have a look at where your clients are coming from and go do more of it. Yeah, go do more of that. I love referrals because someone's vetted. They know that they're ready to work with me. The person who recommended them is normally trusted, which again means that I'm trusted. And I can be fairly sure that their values aligned. It's not always the case, but it's most often the case, yeah, because I'm very vocal and very clear about my values. How do I make sure I'm someone who wants to be referred to? How can I be someone who's good to refer to? I deliver beyond what's promised. I make people feel seen and understood. How do you connect with other people who aren't competitors but can be collaborators, yeah? So you're going to be looking for service providers with the same audience. And that gets to be really fun too. If you're not a connector and that is horrific for you, guess what? You don't have to do it. If you absolutely love going on podcasts and that's where your audience comes from, that's how you get people on your email list, that's how you drive people to your social media, then go and find more podcasts. Where are the people that are paying you or the people that you love to work with? Where are they? One of the key things I worked out was a lot of my audience is sat in private WhatsApp groups. Yeah, because they're not really on the socials. It's not really that interesting to them. They don't spend a lot of time on them. So how do I get into their ears? Okay, that's when we're talking about referrals, podcasts, YouTube. Yeah, because they do spend a lot of time and energy on those places. Again, I'm more than happy to be your case study. We've got YouTube videos for long form content. Yeah, this is where I get to show the depth and the breadth of my expertise. Yeah, this is where you get to do a vibe check. And I've got my email list, and my email list is where the real deep conversations happen. The email list is where people reply to me going, how did you know this? How did you know that this is what I was thinking? Yeah, because like I said, even though I would love for you to leave a comment under this YouTube video, most often the people that come in and end up booking with me and becoming clients, they hadn't. This isn't about going viral. This is about attracting the right people. Yeah, people that are ready to pay you for the transformation that you can provide for them. Consultation before, what's the vetting process? It can be whatever you want it to be. If you have one, it protects your energy and it protects tire kickers, right? What's the difference between someone who needs to look and observe and a tire kicker? Yeah, just the way they make you feel afterwards. Be super clear about the problem you want to solve. Ask the person, are they looking for a magic bullet or are they ready? When do they need this problem solved? Is this someday or is this now? Like this has become a now problem. This has moved from the future next into now. This is a now problem. What are they prepared to invest? Ideally, you should have all of your prices up front. And I understand. I've got some architectural services clients and it's really difficult for them to say, this is what it's going to cost because it's very bespoke pricing. We can give bandwidths, we can give pricing bands, we can give case studies with Examples of what pricing can be, think about how you can show people what the pricing is before they even get to you. And there's some real old money energy going around going, show the transformation before you show them the price. It's not going to work. It's not working anymore. It's new times, new people. If they say the option needs to be free, that's the point where you give them a soft place to land. Yeah, it's not your job to convince people. How do you set expectations? For me, okay, one-to-one coaching starts at, currently it's $1,800. Sessions are minimum of 50 minutes. I work with people who are ready to implement, ready to go, who come prepared with specific questions. And one of the loveliest parts of feedback I get is even the onboarding form starts making people think about money mindset in a completely different way. Makes people think about money in a completely different way. That's exciting, right? What do we do next? What is it you want? Think about what it is. What do you want that person to feel in that call? Yeah, what do you want that person to go away with in that call? Because this isn't about being like a, pushy salesman. This is about you being super clear on what your offer is and how it can help them. Because that's their opportunity to review it and to go, yes, I want this. Or no, this isn't the right thing for me. Make sure that you are super clear on your energy. You've got super clean energy going into it, that this is the right move for them. And it's okay if they say no, right?